And there is Fabio Wardley stating that he demanded, first off, Vada testing. It was the first effing thing on the contract that Jarrell Miller and himself is tested frequently. And let me counterpunch. For the things that Jarrell Miller blew up about and talking about diss tapes and all this, that, and the other about what Wardley's supposed to said and dissing him and stuff, I think that would be more of a low blow than anything else, but something that's actually you were guilty of that people won't let go of. I think that's one of those things that needs to really be looked at, in terms of, trash talk or derogatory statements, like, hey, we demanded, Vada testing, but it is warranted. You got a guy that tested not once, but twice, once in 2019 and then again in 2020, you know what I mean, on his comeback. So, yeah, I think Jarrell Miller, I hope Jarrell Miller comes out fine. Because, he would have to be an idiot or someone just addicted to taking P.E.Ds, to get popped again. You know what I mean? To even try it again, Because I think the first time he thought he was going to get away with it and beat the shit out of AJ. Because I think he thought he had like a rhythm to it, cycle on, cycle off, things of that nature. A lot of people, unfortunately get a rhythm of doing in the sport, okay, or of different sports, actually. So it does happen. But yeah, in this case, someone that has popped twice, yeah, that should be the first line on the contract, because that's the dark cloud over Jarrell Miller's whole career. Because we could always assume that, hey, he did that in each and every fight and just didn't get caught, or every other fighter definitely done it before. You see what I mean? So, yeah, Fabio Wardley saying, yeah, absolutely. We demand drug testing. What promoter wouldn't demand drug testing? Why wouldn't you? And in fact, it's a hell of a thing about fighting and boxing. The person that's accused is normally the person that's, that doesn't show up with something, and the person that you wouldn't even think that shows up with something pops for something. You know what I'm saying? So it is very, very interesting to hear. But no, I definitely agree why they should. That's standard protocol anyway. And then second, it's Jarrell Miller that's been popped twice. So yeah, people are always going to give Jarrell Miller the harsh treatment when it comes to those type of things, because those are the things that they're paranoid about fighters doing. And then, like Wardley said, he said, hey, you add P.E.Ds to a 300-pound man. That's the dangerous ask, and I have to agree. You have to do it right, and this ensures that everyone across the playing field does it right. You know what I'm saying? So you guys tell me what you think of Wardley, Fabio, stating that he demanded Vada testing. It was the first thing on the effing contract. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.